Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemy is death. Welcome on my channel, Try Something Vegetarian. I'm Ulrich Hoffman. Today is the 1st of July 2019. And this is the broadcast, Surpassing Uranium Enrichment Limits, Start of World War III. Rouhani agrees with death to America. Stalin Jew, ? On Try Something Vegetarian. So let's see what I've in store for you all, or how do you say it, what I've planned. Of course, a World War III, a Third World War, must be prevented by any means necessary. The insane Armageddon, end of days scenario must be prevented from unfolding. People that have planned a Third World War must be stopped one way or another to save the 7 billion people they want to exterminate, clear from their book quotes and the $1 million George Guidestones. More about it in my previous broadcasts. So what do we have here? Well, a YouTube video. Let's begin with this then. Israel attacks Syria. Kurds attacking Iran, US missiles found with Libyans, and France caught in Libya. Almost 5,000 views according to the YouTube counter. The Last American Vagabond, streamed live 96 minutes ago. So Israel attacks Syria. And I don't know, but Syria might not be an ally of Russia, and here we see more about the missile strike. Israeli missile strikes on Damascus and Homs kill 4 civilians, including toddler. Videos on rt.com. And Google News overview. Europe plans no immediate sanctions if Iran breaches nuclear deal. Wall Street Journal 2 days ago, and Iran says EU has, quote, not done enough, unquote, to help it avoid US sanctions. 2 days ago, Al Jazeera English. And today is the 1st of July 2019. I already said that, but that's because this is 2 days ago. Here we see that Wall Street Journal article, which I'm going to read only a little part of. So it's that gripping headline basically. And here's the YouTube video. It's a YouTube video, the Al Jazeera English. Iran says EU has not done enough to help it avoid US sanctions. And Yahoo also reported about these missile attacks on Syria's Damascus and Homs were launched by Israeli warplanes from Lebanese airspace. Sana, quoting military source. News Yahoo.com. Missile attacks on Syria's Damascus and Homs were launched by Israeli warplanes from Lebanese airspace. Sana, quoting military source. And that's the full report already. Reuters reported this. And this was July 1st, 2019, today. And Syria says 4 killed as Israeli jets hit targets in Homs and Damascus. Damascus claims to have intercepted several incoming missiles fired from Lebanese airspace. Observer says Iran-linked base targeted. No comment from IDF. So I denounced these attacks if innocent civilians got killed. And I have denounced and will keep on denouncing all attacks in which innocent civilians get killed. And now the intro, or rather the text that counts, the text that this video is about. So let's just begin reading, and then I can stop it and comment and explain how it's meant, if necessary. Okay, the CPU is now alright, 0 dropped frames. So let's start reading this with the speech engine. I use Balabulka freeware.
What will happen to the 99 active nuclear power plants around the country if we are hit with an EMP? 4,600 views. Prepper Nurse 15.9K views 2 days ago. Iran World War Threat News Evaluation June 27, 2019. Iran says it will exceed nuclear deal's limit on uranium in 10 days. 10 days ago Trump threatens Iran with obliteration. Gulf News 6 hours ago nuclear strike threat. Tehran says U.S. has no other means to obliterate Iran. RT 9 hours ago White House says U.S. is prepared to negotiate with Iran without preconditions. CNBC June 23, 2019.
So prevent World War III is possible. None without a Tesla plasma shield would survive, and that Putin has nuclear torpedoes that create 90-meter high tsunami waves, formerly called tidal waves.
Iran says idiotic new U.S. sanctions shut doors of diplomacy. Associated Press June 25, 2019. Watch the YouTube video, Putin, Tehran in full compliance with its nuclear commitments. Sanctions against Iran groundless on my channel. Try Something Vegetarian. Putin, speaking during his annual televised question and answer session, said Moscow believed Tehran was in full compliance with its nuclear commitments and called sanctions against Iran groundless. Reuters.com June 20, 2019. What is the best way to prevent World War III and create universal peace? An agreement between Trump and Putin is the first thing that comes to mind. Leaders are advised not to take any disproportionate action. Trump tweeted he would obliterate Iran in some areas only, not Iran as a whole. Donald J. Trump verified account at Real Donald Trump. Any attack by Iran on anything American will be met with great and overwhelming force. In some areas, overwhelming will mean obliteration. 7:42 a.m. June 25, 2019. All leaders are advised to take steps towards universal peace, global peace, world peace, or just towards peace. Unreasonable sanctions are a step in the direction of a potential world war, not universal peace. Warmongers that want to bomb Iran always leave out what Putin would do: mutually assured destruction and universal peace. If there are any people that want to create a world war, they must be prevented from doing so and replaced with more competent leaders that will not steer humanity towards total self-annihilation but towards controlling all factors that control aging and a perfect society in which maximum fulfillment is bestowed on all of us, not just a handful of pedo elite. Iran's supreme leader vows never to capitulate to U.S. sanctions. International. The New York Times 16 hours ago. Iran holds back on threat to breach nuclear deal. Country may be waiting on outcome of talks setting out plans to kickstart trade with EU. TheGuardian.com Thursday, June 27, 2019. The U.S. is due to announce further sanctions this week on Iran's chief diplomat, Javad Zarif, the foreign minister, in a move that will be seen in Europe as undermining diplomacy. Iran warns U.S. against repeating mistake of violating borders. Al-Jazeera.com 5 hours ago. Vertigo, a sensation of spinning that is related to problems with the inner ear. Private sector. The part of the national economy that is not under direct state control. Deforestation. The rising. Trump threatens obliteration of Iran, as sanctions dispute escalates. New York Times June 25, 2019. Even the New York Times headline suggests that Trump would obliterate Iran as a whole, though he said any attack by Iran on anything American will be met with great and overwhelming force. In some areas, overwhelming will mean obliteration, suggesting that only some areas of Iran would be obliterated, not Iran as a whole. If anything American would be attacked by Iran. Very few people reported about the possibility that a false flag oil tanker drone attack took place recently. Theory: a U.S. drone fired a projectile at the cancer oil tankers and tried to blame Iran as a whole for these false flag attacks. This theory is supported by the following facts. 1. An eyewitness described he saw a projectile, not a mine. 2. The holes in the ship are above sea level and there was no cancer oil spill. U.S. releases video that it says shows Iran's involvement in oil tanker attacks. Vox.com June 14, 2019 picture released by the U.S. military showing damage and a supposed mine on Courageous. The picture shows a triangular-shaped little black hole to the right of the ruptured ship. Possibly they are two holes in the ship both above the waterline, above sea level. The claim that the black triangular-shaped thing would be a limpet mine is refuted by the video that accompanies the picture. On the video the triangular-shaped object or hole is not visible, though the white letter T and round white circles on the ship as shown on the picture indicate the people allegedly placing a mine were in the same position as the black triangle-shaped hole or object. Limpet mines are round, not triangular-shaped. The arrow with the text "likely mine" makes clear they are not sure it was a mine. The video makes clear the mine was not visible from the beginning to the end.
For that video and these pictures, also a color picture, check my previous broadcast about this subject. That's false flag. That's the video. False flag oil tanker drone attack on front Altair and Courageous. Attempt to start World War III on YouTube on my channel Try Something.Vegetarian.
Of the video. In the beginning of the video, the person standing on the nose of the little boat holds something white in his hands. He pushes it against the ship and then seems to pretend to pull it of the ship as if it was attached, like a bad actor. The two oil tankers damaged in this incident were Front Altair, owned by a Norwegian company, and the Japan-based Courageous. A single death is a tragedy. A million dead people are just statistics. Joseph Stalin. Watch. False flag oil tanker drone attack on Front Altair and Courageous attempt to start WW3, on YouTube. Directed energy, speed of light defense. Lockheed Martin 244K views 3 years ago. How susceptible are modern tanks to EMP weapons? Tanks like the Abrams, the USA's main battle tank, all work on electronics. Now, the shielding on a tank is certainly not the best against an EMP. Plus there aren't many tests, so no one really knows for sure what'll happen. Of course, a lot of the communications systems will be offline, so the tank will essentially be blinded by a powerful EMP. Quora.com July 22, 2016. The penetration of the Ossetes was followed by another ethnical event, a group of immigrants to Georgia, who came from Iran. They did not come in great numbers, but they were active individuals such as soldiers, artisans, and traders.
So sorry for the video is hanging basically. And my mouse pointer wasn't working anymore, so I couldn't say anything. So I can't use the video during this broadcast anymore, but I don't really need it anyway. We can continue the broadcast as if nothing happened, but my USB hub is not working anymore. So it says C when something is connected and D when something is disconnected. So that was what was happening. It's just sabotage with remote torture technology, with Tesla's technology that is abused. The vegetarian Nikola Tesla created it to end all wars in reality. Let's keep it on the text.
These immigrants came from the island of Tzu in the Gulf of Cambay and included a number of Marianos, Portuguese Jews, who practiced their religion in secret. In the dialect of the population of this region, the word Zhula means natives of the island of Tzu and was the actual description given to Israelites. When, some centuries later, proper names were given to the people of Georgia, with the exception of the noblemen, the descendants of these immigrants from the island Tzu became Dzhugashvili, which translated means, the sons of Tzu. The name Dzhugashvili discloses that Stalin had Jewish blood in his veins. He neither confirmed nor denied this. How many generations ago the Dzhugashvili Stalin family practiced the Jewish faith is difficult to say. Some historians maintain that his grandfather was Jewish, others deny it. This seems to be an interesting theory. He stated that Stalin was the descendant of Portuguese Jews from an island called Tzu. According to him, this island is located in the Gulf of Cambay, No one can disprove to me that all intelligence agencies are Masonic and controlled by the Jesuits and that Peter Hans Kaltenbach ordered the demolition of the WTC. Ridiculing the truth doesn't work on me. The beautiful cry of death to America unites our nation. Hassan Rouhani quote. N.ykcode.org remark made in May, 1995, as quoted in About the New Moderate Iranian Cabinet. The Wall Street Journal, August 7, 2013. Khamenei renews death wish for Israel. The Islamic Republic's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said once again that Israel will not last and will perish in the not-so-far future. Iran's official news agency IRNA quoted Khamenei as saying, "Israel's problem is one of illegitimacy, and a regime based on illegitimacy would definitely be annihilated and destroyed." In.radioforda.com June 16, 2018. Swarm to destruction, 20 threats Iranian leaders made against Israel in 2013. In a Friday sermon on December 15, 2000, Khamenei declared, Iran's position, which was first expressed by the Imam, Khomeini. Is that the cancerous tumor called Israel must be uprooted from the region. A month later, he repeated his message. The foundation of the Islamic regime is opposition to Israel, and the perpetual subject of Iran is the elimination of Israel from the region. More recently, on November 20, 2013, Khamenei told an assembly of some 50,000 Basij militiamen that Israel was ready to fall. The Zionist regime is a regime whose pillars are extremely shaky and is doomed to collapse, he said. Israelis, he added, should not be called humans. BuzzFeed.com December 24, 2013. Khamenei denies intention to destroy Israel. Netanyahu had said during his European tour last week that Iran wants a second Holocaust after Khamenei said in a tweet that the Jewish state was cancerous, reported the Jewish Chronicle on June 5. The tweet cited the comment from a 2012 speech by Khamenei. In comments published on Khamenei's official website on June 10, he said, "Now imagine the most cruel person of our time, the child murderer Prime Minister of the Zionist regime, goes to Europe and plays innocent, saying Iran wants to destroy them," adding, "The European addressee listens and shakes his head, without mentioning their crimes in Gaza and Quds." In.radioforda.com June 11, 2018. Iran is still an NPT signatory country, sovereign state and UN member country. If Iranian leaders allow inspections and are in compliance with the NPT, sanctions are unjustified or groundless, as Putin put it. Is it possible that what Iranian leaders and officials claim, that Iran is not producing nuclear weapons, is true? Then all the sanctions would be paranoid, schizophrenic in nature, possibly to create a third temporal world war. The threats against Israel and the US were uttered after the use of depleted uranium in Iraq by American soldiers, after Netanyahu and Bush lied that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons. Any attack on Israel or the US by Iran would mean the end of Iran and possibly mutually assured destruction if Putin would agree with the attack of Iranian leaders, which is doubtful. It is crucial to take steps and implement measures and make agreements between leaders now to prevent escalation into a third world war. Do stuff to create universal peace. The use of depleted uranium in munitions is controversial because of concerns about potential long-term health effects. Normal functioning of the kidney, brain, liver, heart, and numerous other systems can be affected by exposure to uranium, a toxic metal. It is only weakly radioactive because of its long radioactive half-life, 4.468 billion years for uranium-238, 700 million years for uranium-235. The case for an immediate ban on the military use of depleted uranium. Ru.nl United States, expert, depleted uranium use is a war crime. Greenleft.org.o, Game of Fair, Tom Cruise missiles, defense, the groupies, the bands, the Iranians, BB-Lan, where everyone has a BB gun, the beginning of days, with Israeli haze, right? Yes. Russian documents reveal desire to sow racial discord and violence. In the US, the revelations come as US intelligence agencies have warned of probable Russian meddling in the 2020 election. NKNews.com May 21, 2019. 7 famous Jewish porn stars, all use fake names. Ron Jeremy real name, Ronald Jeremy Hyatt James Dean real name, Brian Matthew Sevelanina Hartley real name, Mary Louise Hartman Joanna Angel real name, Joanna Mostov Michael Lucas real name, Andre Travis Naomi real name, Naomi Russell Seymour Butts real name, Adam Glaser. Europe plans no immediate sanctions if Iran breaches nuclear deal. President Trump warned of unspecified retaliation if Iran makes good on its threat to enrich more uranium than allowed under the 2015 nuclear deal. WallStreetJournal.com June 29, 2019. Iran says EU has not done enough to help it avoid US sanctions. 37,086 views. Al Jazeera English published on June 29, 2019. Watch. Surpassing uranium enrichment limit start of WW3, Rouhani agrees with death to America. Stalin Jew? On Try Something.Vegetarian YouTube. Syria says 4 killed as Israeli jets hit targets in Homs and Damascus. Damascus claims to have intercepted several incoming missiles fired from Lebanese airspace. Observer says Iran-linked base targeted, no comment from IDF. Today, 1:52 a.m. Explosions seen near Damascus on July 1, 2019. Syria says Israeli jets hit targets in Damascus and Homs. Screen capture / Twitter. Israeli missile strikes on Damascus and Homs kill 4 civilians, including toddler. Videos. Published time, 30th of June, 2019 21:53. Edited time, 1st of July, 2019 8:02. Destroy 5G, prevent World War III. Right.com.
So that's RT.com, Russian television.
Syrian air defenses have responded to apparent missile attacks in the vicinity of Damascus and Homs, Sana reports, with its military source claiming that a number of hostile targets have been intercepted. At least 4 people, including a baby, were killed in the strikes on the Damascus countryside, while 21 others suffered injuries, according to state TV. One of those injured is a month-old baby girl, who suffered burns and facial wounds. Besides the casualties, a number of houses on the outskirts of Damascus suffered material damage. The missiles were launched from Lebanese airspace, where Israeli aircraft were spotted making low-altitude flights around the time of the incident, according to TV channel Al Mayadeen, Al Master News, and other regional sources. Europe plans no immediate sanctions if Iran breaches nuclear deal. President Trump warned of unspecified retaliation if Iran makes good on its threat to enrich more uranium than allowed under the 2015 nuclear deal.
Retaliation, that suggests that there would first be a strike. He has also talked about obliteration, basically. So this was basically the line for me, this article, that idea that President Trump warned of unspecified retaliation if Iran makes good on its threat to enrich more uranium than allowed under the 2015 nuclear deal. Also, I would think insane, but this was the last straw, or whatever they call it, making me think, are we on a collision course to World War III, Third Temple World War, in which they will annihilate most of humanity? It's clear from book quotes of people that want to reduce the global population, that they want 7 billion people dead to reduce the global population and maintain the global population at around 500 million. It means 7 billion of us, 93% of us or more have to die. And if you kill everyone in China, India, and the US, the top 3 countries, then you're not even halfway there. If you want to annihilate 7 billion people, which is clear from the book quote, so that's a conspiracy fact, not a conspiracy theory. More about this also in my previous broadcast on this channel. So members of secret societies must be rounded up, arrested, and the ones that don't talk get the electric chair or the death chair or life imprisonment, depending on how serious the crimes are, if they've killed multiple people. And some of them have, no doubt, their secret society for a reason. So yeah, I'm for investigating these secret societies, and it's the government's job to do this. But apparently they're more upset about racism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism than about people that advocate annihilating 7 billion people with airborne Ebola, who supposedly are applauded. Like Professor Pianka, with a P of Pope. Prince also. Osaka, Japan. Europe has no immediate plans to follow the US and impose sanctions on Iran, even if the regime in Tehran makes good on its threat and breaches a nuclear accord President Trump pulled out from last year, French President Emmanuel Macron said. And Macron may be a crypto Jew like Trump and Putin are, according to lots of sources online. But perhaps it's impossible to prove or disprove it in reality. And perhaps it's best to have equal rights for all, not to believe that any race or group is superior or chosen, and the rest are not God's people, not to privilege anybody. Just give the job to the person that's most qualified. And many people think they are privileging Muslims also. For example, these child traffickers, pedophiles, and criminals were released on bail while Tommy Robinson was in jail. So he doesn't fit in with their agenda of opening these borders to all these refugees and terrorists they've made with their illegal wars in the Middle East by funding terrorists attempting to destabilize countries, to subvert nations. Jesuits and Masons. Jesuits were expelled from lots of countries. So we can read all these headlines to see what's going on. 3 days ago. And this also reads part of these articles. Or there was a video somewhere. Not that one. And we've seen most casualties on the side of the Palestinians when there are rockets fired, and Israel is the Iron Dome. We already watched this one, I think. So that's why most of these Palestinian missiles are warded off anyway. And we also saw 190 killed protesters in the Gaza Strip that they can't leave, so they're sort of locked up in Gaza. No equal rights, a sort of racial segregation. So they don't want a one-state solution giving everybody a passport in return for the Temple Mount, because they want to reduce the global population to 500 million, and they've planned this Armageddon from the start. They're Jesuits, a military order posing as religious order, according to many satanic homo pedo necro cannibals. Ain't no law gay. Iran says EU has not done enough to help it avoid US sanctions. And the US invested more in the bloody war machine than all the other countries combined in the military-industrial complex. And the wars in the Middle East, illegal wars, according to many, because they would need the approval, consent of Congress, and they didn't get that. And they lied about Iraq as well, that they were supposedly producing a nuclear weapon. They cost 4.8 trillion. And that meter is still going up on costofwar.com. Let's see where we are today. Plus 5,000 dead US soldiers, plus over 1 million dead Iraqi innocent civilians. Over 5,000 US soldiers. And the cost in lives and money would be a lot higher if they would attack Iran. And it looks like that the transgression of, well, that's the question, if the transgression of that limit for depleted uranium enrichment set in the JCPOA, the nuclear deal, if that ends the 7th of July, that's in 6 days, the question is what happens then if they get a new agreement, if that's still possible. And I think it may be, but I'm not sure, so I can't say for sure. Total cost of war since 2001, 4,842,000,000, 4,842,640,000,640,000 Every hour, taxpayers in the United States are paying 32.08 million for total cost of war since 2001. So that's all taxpayers together pay 32 million every hour for the total cost of the war since 2001, totaling for almost 5 trillion. Costofwar.com national priorities. So that's also split up in care for war on terror veterans cost and homeland security costs, military costs and interest on war debt since 2001. And lots of US taxpayers were against this war, so do it to real murderers, people whose policies killed millions, not to innocent civilians, if you're going to do anything. Of course, I can't advise anybody to do anything illegal. They threw the wall radar, they're scanning our minds, not just monitoring what we're saying on YouTube. And the neural network sabotages people, so it's benefiting select few, Jesuits, Masons, some call it the pedo elite. So you also have Bilderberg, Committee of 300, Trilateral Commission, Round Table, Rockefellers, Rothschilds in London, the Committee of 300 is the subversive body of the Club of Rome. And the Vatican, of course, in Rome. And with Owen Benjamin, does he really believe that there's a nuclear hoax? And what about the depleted uranium babies you can see pictures of, and these blast craters you can check out for yourselves? You can visit these blast craters of their nuclear tests. That guy looks a bit like the Dutch king, but it's Iran people of the flame with David Adams. So it's not him. Let's just watch the RT video then I can, Al Jazeera video I mean, so I can review this. It's just 2 minutes, 21 seconds. No dropped frames, yet my USB hub was taken out by something.
In 2015, the negotiating teams came to the lavish Palais Coburg in Vienna to sign and seal the JCPOA Iran nuclear deal. 4 years later, they're here trying to save it. Britain, China, France, Germany and Russia have announced that Instex is now operational, a complex barter-type system to let European countries trade with Iran while avoiding US sanctions. Tehran has set a July 7th deadline. That's when it's threatened to begin enriching uranium close to weapons-grade purity if its oil exports aren't resumed.
I believe that it was
I think Iran should be allowed to enrich uranium to higher levels, to weapons grade uranium, as long as they keep it in check, as long as they allow these inspections. And I think under the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty Iran has signed, they have to. But they are a sovereign state and they are a UN member country. You can see a list of sovereign states on Wikipedia. See, I've read an edited encyclopedia according to Agency France Presse, AFP.
Positive and constructive meeting. I can say one step forward compared to the previous meetings we had, but it is still not enough, and it is still not meeting Iran's expectations.
China, the biggest buyer of Iranian oil, has also hit out at the United States for its unilateral action.
We reject the unilateral imposition of sanctions, and for us, the energy security is important, and the importation of oil is important to the Chinese energy security and also to the livelihood of the people.
President Trump took the United States out of the JCPOA deal last year and is pressurizing the European signatories to do the same. At the same time, the US is demanding that Iran must abide by the deal and limit its stockpile of enriched uranium. Previously, Iran exported excess uranium to stay within the limits, but the sanctions now prevent that. The US Special Envoy on Iran is touring European capitals to muster support for President Trump's stance. On Friday, he was in London.
We are trying to restore deterrence, to reestablish deterrence against Iran. We are also putting ourselves in a position where if we are attacked by Iran, we can respond with military force. But that is only if.
But on the nuclear deal, European countries are sticking with Iran, calling the agreement a major contribution to stability in the region. Can the Instex trading system deliver enough economic benefits to keep Iran from abandoning the treaty? Perhaps not, but it's been described as the last chance. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera.
I think that's not the real Supergirl. Though she does look good. Like, real Superman is basically Christopher Reeve. Ah. So, that original Supergirl is Jewish, and basically that proves that the stereotype about Jewish people is wrong. I think there are many non-Jews with hook noses, etc. I think she may also have played in The Secret of My Success with, or is that someone else? With the actor that also played in some Doctor movie and in, of course, Back to the Future. And I think you also have a website Who is a Jew, and they may also be wrong about these things. Supergirl is strong, empowered, and Jewish. jwi.org. I doubt if it's Naomi Cutin, so I have to search like this. First go to that website that I saw it on. It's a long time ago already, but I just thought it would fit in. Perhaps only Supergirl could save us now. And the safest country may be Israel. Of course, if they want to rule the world from Jerusalem, then the rest of the world could be set up to self-annihilate, if there is such a thing as what the anti-Semites claim, a Zionist-occupied government, which is nonsense, of course. They're not anonymous, and power doesn't always corrupt, so I think you have good and bad Jewish people like you have good and bad Goyim, non-Jews. Though Goyim, you could argue, is an ethnic slur to a certain extent. I doubt if they've listed that on Wikipedia as such. But I'm not going to mention the K word, which is definitely an ethnic slurs, they call them. So there's a list. So these are words that are not allowed on YouTube. You're not always banned if you use them, but I think it's best to avoid any anti-Semitism, racism, and homophobia, because it's done by the Jesuits and Masons that are obviously also cancer chemtrailing Israel, and they've also demolished a lot of Jews that were in the WTC at that time. And it's simply wrong to blame a whole group of people, the Muslims, the Jews, the Christians, the atheists. We've seen what happened in the Inquisition. And with never again, I think many people can agree with never again World War. So that's the thing to prevent the end. We don't need it, also it's not needed to build that third temple. And Armageddon may already have taken place. It was Armageddon. And I think lots of tanks and devices might still work. They may be EMP resistant, so there will never be another fight with horses and sticks and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm not gonna find that website. Officially, according to Halakha, of course, if your mother is Jewish, then you're Jewish, but I don't believe in the concept. So theoretically, the pedo-incest Bible and the pedo-incest Quran cannot save us. And according to that Bible, which according to many is a man-made book, fictional, a book filled with myths, the Bible is a collection of plagiarized polytheistic myths rolled into monotheism, proving God does not exist. According to that Bible, all Jewish people are begotten of incest. So you can imagine how they feel, basically. The Torah. So burn the Bible, burn the Torah, burn the Talmud, burn the Quran. and burn a Bhagavad Gita as well if that doesn't promote universal peace and the end of all wars like Nikola Tesla, then it's not good enough, it's not something to believe in. All these fictional entities do not exist. So they can't go play and have fun with themselves. And omniscient would also mean present in poop, I guess, and other things. So it's just channeling the energy to create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. I'm not finding the website, but there is a website, and I think they might also be wrong about crypto Jews. And I've covered that wiki article. Along with the Talmudic Top Sheba Goyim, Harog, even the best of the non-Jews must be killed during wartime, Vicious Babushka, and Talmud Faith Web claim. So these are Jewish people claiming it, and it's supposedly also found a Talmud quote in the Jewish Encyclopedia. So can anybody disprove to me that that's a real Talmud quote? That it is written, thus undeniable. So yeah, then I have to expose that, but I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not really anti-Jesuits and Masons either, nor homophobic or racist, so I'm pro equal rights for all. And I trust no one, whether they're Jews or non-Jews. And they all believe in the concept, so even if you don't, they all still do, basically. Did I cover the depleted uranium stockpile? Countries with depleted uranium. So I'm not an anti-Semite because I don't blame all the Jewish people for something the Jesuits and Masons did. And I keep clear there are good and bad Jews and good and bad non-Jews. If you believe in the concept, überhaupt. It's good enough. Let's see. And there are Jewish people I love as well, and they're great artists and musicians, Hollywood actors that people love, and there are cool Jewish people out there. So it's also clear from the fact that I'm against demonizing anyone. So I am quite anti-fascistic, I think. I know I'm totally anti-totalitarianism, imperialism. I mean, invading other countries, it should be stopped. These illegal wars in the Middle East. Creating terrorists to destroy nations and create a crisis big enough to impose their satanic Luciferian totalitarian global government, if you ask me. So this is about the depleted uranium with a half-life of about 4.5 billion years, which is why it's a war crime, a weapon of mass destruction, and that's also covered in my previous articles, where I also go into the codified laws that specify it as such, a weapon with an indiscriminate effect, etc. But let's read this. So, what can be done to ban depleted uranium weapons worldwide, to ban the use of depleted uranium weapons, and to just get rid of them as a whole? Of course, they might not want that because they want to make money, but they could have used cobalt thorium G, which is a lot cleaner, but they can't make weapons with that, so why not switch to cobalt? There's an interesting video about this on the channel Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, so we can watch that then. Perhaps that's better to watch than... but first an overview of the world depleted uranium inventory.
World Depleted Uranium Inventory 30, Country Organization Estimated Due Stocks, Tons, Reported. United States DO 480,000 2002, Russia FAIA 460,000 1996, France ERIVA NC 190,000 2001, United Kingdom BNFL 30,000 2001, United Kingdom, Germany, Netherlands Uranco 16,000 1999, Japan JNFL 10,000 2001, China CNNC 2000, South Korea KRE 200 2002, South Africa Nexus 73 2001, Singapore DSO National Laboratories 62,007, total 1,188,273 2008.
Okay, I'm searching the video, I'll find it in somewhere. And if I run into something porn or whatever, then it's covered up by the picture show now, so I can search freely. So people can always Skype me, Prologic999 on Skype. Put a response to Elton John, respect majority, exclamation mark, no. Liberals invented 5 or 6 genders, Transformers, question mark. No. Respect the majority, yes, but not homophobia. And it's also weird that the Jehovah's Witnesses are put in jail for 6 years for merely being Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia. Exposed. So religion is an abomination, fueling homophobia. And people cannot help their sexual preference, so no matter how forbidden they make it, people cannot help being gays and lesbians, homosexuals. And lesbians. And LGBTQ, etc. Lesbian, gay, bisexual. That means people who are attracted to more than one sex, to both sexes basically, or to all sexes. people can't help being bisexuals either, so you can't get rid of that with rules and with killing them. In nature we find homosexuality among birds. I myself am a hetero, but I love Elton John's song for Guy. That's great. Life isn't everything. Isn't everything. Isn't everything. With a nice piano, etc. Yes, some other, also Blue Eyes is cool, very relaxing, healing, I think. And I also like another Jews production. I think that Jim Nampadi and Eric Satie basically also has some awesome pieces. Others may be a bit dissonant, but that these melodies have a therapeutic effect or healing. Okay. And Sir Elton John is Sir, so it's kind of a big thing, so that's why we see this on Russia Inside, and just 353,000 views, 20 hours to go. Let's see if I have this. Oh, I'm okay, I can show it here. That's this video. Putin responds to Elton John. But has the White House responded to the petition to declare George Soros a criminal and seize all his assets? And where could I find that response? If that is there, I've shown that petition on the whitehouse.gov website. But I haven't really searched. If I'd search, I'd probably find it. But I was searching for the other video. Let's see, in my history, I hit the wrong button. The thorium conspiracy, stuff they don't want you to know. Uploaded by Anwar Theme HDI or whatever. But this is originally from Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. Okay. So this is an awesome video. Get ready, y'all. Be prepared. Let's go out here.
From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
Checking if there's someone at the door. No one at the door. So it's in the video, probably the doorbell is in the video, probably, most probably, practically certainly. Almost 100% sure.
Here are the facts. Humanity has entered the dawn of a new age. Nuclear power plants, the majority of which use uranium, supply over 5% of the world's energy and over 10% of its electricity. In theory, nuclear power is a world-changing energy source, and, as proponents at the IAEA have argued, the only feasible alternative to fossil fuels. In practice, however, it has devastating risks. From Fukushima to Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island, malfunctions at nuclear power plants can poison surrounding areas for centuries. But, argue scientists in India, China, and elsewhere, it doesn't have to be this way. Nuclear power plants can also run on an element called thorium. thorium is easier to find, produces less waste, and creates less radiation. So why aren't we using it? Here's where it gets crazy. For decades, theorists, pundits, and scientists have argued for the use of thorium as a power source, and though their cause has made some progress, the uranium fuel source still dominates the market. Why? At first glance, the situation seems anomalous. After all, thorium is approximately 3 times more abundant than uranium. To the average person, it may sound incredible that humanity didn't start with thorium in the first place. But the big question is this: since it's true that thorium does have advantages, is it possible that some organizations have purposely suppressed the technology? The answer, and there is an answer, gets a bit complicated, and we'll need to travel back to the early days of nuclear research to understand how, to borrow a phrase from The Guardian's Natalie Bennett, uranium became the VHS to thorium's Betamax. According to the US Department of Energy, early nuclear research before and during World War II focused on the development of weapons, and it was only later that scientists began focusing on peaceful applications of nuclear technology. Consider that the first atomic bomb was tested in 1945, but the first investigation of peaceful atomic energy did not begin until 1947. Since the original focus of the US research was on military applications, uranium became the superior choice. As Forbes writer Marin Katusa points out, uranium's reaction process generates plutonium-239, which can be weaponized. Thorium, despite its potential advantages, does not. Experts at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee had already built a thorium reactor by the 1960s, and it was shut down under the Nixon presidency not because it didn't work, but because it didn't produce plutonium. With this context in mind, it's easy to see how the bulk of research and funding went to uranium rather than to thorium, but that doesn't explain why this has remained true in the modern day, and it doesn't have to. Fast forward to 2011. In the wake of the Fukushima meltdown, thorium underwent a revival. Today, government-sponsored scientists across the globe are aggressively pursuing thorium as a fuel source. China is aiming to be the world leader in what is often called the clean nuclear fuel. To be fair, thorium is no silver bullet. It isn't fissile, meaning that it has to be converted to be useful, and it could be used to create weaponry, but doing so would be far more difficult and, generally speaking, not feasible. So, is there a conspiracy to suppress thorium technology? Not an overarching one, at least not at this point. If anything, many enthusiasts, including some government leaders, see thorium as the wave of the nuclear future. Determining the usefulness of thorium will require intense research and an enormous amount of funding. And let's not forget that, as journalist Ambrose Evans Pritchard notes, established companies in the nuclear industry may well have a vested interest in blocking thorium due to their billions of dollars in sunk costs and their possible influence on government officials. Yet for countries such as India, China, and Russia, creating commercially viable thorium technology could change the nature of the energy race and international relations. Whether they succeed is most likely going to hinge on scientific concerns, but when the US was pioneering the field of nuclear research, thorium just wasn't dangerous enough. Why didn't the US push for thorium in the post-Cold War? Was there someone else intervening, such as established conglomerations of big oil or other power industries? If that's the case,
Go nuclear ... waste. E equals delta Tc squared is more accurate than E equals mc squared. Scalar technology has made nuclear technology obsolete, and it superseded the first atomic tests by about 40 years, Tesla's death ray, as weapon to end all wars. More about the scalar patterns in the so-titled broadcast on this channel, Try Something Vegetarian. So yeah, try something vegan or vegetarian. The coconut ice cream is awesome. It's Abbott Kinney's coconut ice cream, available at health food stores. And that's made without any dairy products, without animal products. It's suitable for vegans. And it's healthiest to be vegan as long as you take enough vitamin B12, because animal protein and animal fat especially increases your cancer risk. The documentary to watch is What the Health on Vimeo.
Then there's something they don't want you to know about thorium, and it may just have cost the US the lead in the future of energy.
So there are people that want to reduce the global population, and keeping the meat industry going is part of that population reduction, because up to 16 kilograms of grain are needed to produce 1 kilogram of cancer hormone cow meat. The world's hunger problem would be solved if everybody would become vegetarian. So vegan is healthiest, but vitamin B12 can also be found in vitamin B12 spray, hydroxycobalamin. That's better than tablets, but best may be taking foods that contain vitamin B12. Dolphin safe tuna. If you eat fish, I don't eat fish, so I need other sources. I do still eat some dairy products, and we also have eggs and other fortified cereals, etc. And Marmite, basically, oh yeah, I wanted to buy that, I forgot it. Yeast, basically, that is monosodium glutamate, so that lowers the blood-brain barrier. So it's good not to eat too much of that either. And I think yeast is in a lot of products already. So I can't show you all video because my webcam is not working at this time. HowStuffWorks.com, conspiracy at discovery.com, thorium nuclear reactors, youtube.com/conspiracy stuff. So that can cover conspiracy facts as well. It doesn't always have to be a conspiracy theory. And I'm a conspiracy factist, Ulrich Hoffman, that's my name. And you can also Skype me if you want to have a meaningful debate about subjects like will there be a world war and how to and is preventable in their dictionary, or are there people that have planned this third Jesuit world war? Knights of Malta perhaps involved, Bilderberg. And would they survive if the Earth would spin off axis, because they've never set off that many nukes simultaneously? Any publicity is good publicity. Then perhaps they won't survive it either. Also, if they are in a bomb shelter that's not water resistant, if there will be 90-meter high tsunami or tidal waves, then they will drown as well. So they could take a diving suit. The question is, how contaminated will that water be? Will it wash away California? That's some conspiracy theorists think that California will disappear. So all these things I'm open to talk about it. Also the idea of the Hufferdam breaking, or the dollar bill, what we can find on that dollar bill. Is PJ the little demon on the dollar bill? And basically, if you fold it right, then you can see the WTC demolition and nukes going off and water. So because I've had that possible precognitive vision of me drowning here on the second floor in Meidrecht, the ground floor is basically -5 meters below sea level. But if there are 90-meter high tsunami waves, then I wouldn't be able to survive anywhere in the Netherlands, perhaps. Switzerland is an independent country, but if they're going for a global government, then they will also invade Switzerland at a certain point, in theory. And Israel has the Samson option that I've also talked about in previous broadcasts. So then the question in relation to the Samson option is it possible that Israel would also attack ally countries? For example, now Trump has made clear he wants to annex the West Bank, Gaza Strip. There are 28 EU member states. So annexation is generally considered to be an illegal act according to Wikipedia, and there are 28 EU member states that disagree with Trump's annexation plans. I did a video about it as well. And of course Putin disagrees with the sanctions. That video is also worth watching, so I think I have the best videos about this stuff, though. I've also found a channel of Blackstone Intelligence. If you search that on YouTube, you'll find Blackstone Intelligence. His channel is also interesting. And how stuff works, or stuff they don't want you to know. That's conspiracy stuff. The channel is conspiracy stuff on YouTube. That's also educational to a certain extent. And you could argue that's better than wasting your time, when it's also quite entertaining and fun. So it can be fascinating to learn stuff about our reality, how stuff works also. For example, levitation of flying saucers, time travel, cloaking, and more about scalar waves and the coils, also in my previous broadcasts. .co.il, coil. The truth is hidden in plain sight. So against the chemtrail planes of the CIA's Evergreen Aviation Project Cloverleaf fly higher than general passenger jets, cancer-causing Tachynelis, planes, jets, aeroplane. Een uigtuig met een lichtje op zijn taart. Don't know how I know that I said that as a child, but perhaps my mother told me. And most people love their mother, so they don't like it when anything bad is said about their mother. So the dikes are definitely a nuclear target. And so are airports. So you would have to be in a place away from the ground zero, they call it. And after the nukes go right like the wind, so that you are not in a contaminated area. So you have to travel in the direction the wind is blowing, because these megaton nukes cause wind to start blowing, basically. Now I started blowing as well, so perhaps we're on a collision course here. And if so, don't panic, but do something about it, basically. That's the idea. Perhaps it's best to panic, to go protesting on Dam Square, to boycott everyone.
Continuing realistic radiation surveillance program.
Oh yeah, duck and cover. The turtle video. That makes sense. So be below that blast wave. Make sure you have a cellar, a shelter, where you can go when the air alarm goes off. I would say we're now at second highest DEFCON level or whatever. Qua World War threat, doomsday clock is almost exploding now. So the time to prepare is now, also with storable food, rice and peanut butter. Oh, and I made a list of things. Let's see. Prepper bag. So it's good to have a prepper bag with stuff in it so you can hide outside of your homes if there would be some kind of invasion or anything. Then saving your life is the most important thing. Hoppa. Lucifer, the nuke bringer, etc. Supposedly controlled by God, of course. Supposedly the demon of absurdity and concealment, Lucifuge, defeated by the Aralim. Suppress will witness that soon. Prepper bag, helmet, water filters. Read American Spirit. Universal peace pipe, clothing, thermal blankets, that's a good one. Watches, cloudbusters, mini cloudbuster, pyramids, straws, vest, radio, knives, cancer cell phones, medical ointment, colloidal silver, SRL jelly, basically, that's against cramp and for your muscles and stuff. Massaging oil, that's another idea. Coconut oil. Isle of Lewis, Switzerland, Portugal, Iceland. Possible safe countries. Safest one may be Israel, but we need a better indication of when it's about to start. So if anybody knows a date when this could start, even if it's only a hunch or whatever, please let us know. Skype Prologic999 or let me know in the comments. I don't know if they've done something to block the chat and the comments. I think they are turned on. I checked also, but I haven't seen any chat remarks, though some videos had a lot of views and theoretically there would have been chat remarks. Let's see. Continue the rest of the video.
Through nuclear energy explorations, man will continue to learn more about this new source of energy and to apply it to an ever-broadening horizon. At the same time, the health and safety of people everywhere will be assured by a continuing realistic radiation surveillance program. Our future generations deserve a heritage of greater freedom.
So the Luciferian UN also has the Baha'i, and they have a sort of explosion as their logo. The Baha'i symbol. You can Google that. FUN. We all know what it means.
From want and care and confidence that nuclear energy will contribute to the establishment of universal peace.
Well, I think that it's a good ending for this video. Universal peace. Legalize it also. So that's one idea, smoking out all these organisms that don't belong in our body. The peace pipe, but of course cannabis can also be eaten. And it's illegal to block a working cure, like cannabis, heroin, cocaine, from the public. Illegal Rockefeller drug laws, basically. Because it's illegal to block a working cure from the public, okay? You can read the jurisprudence on that. Jurisprudence. And how legally binding jurisprudence is another matter. But still, the fact remains, it's illegal to block a working cure from the public to reduce the global population with chemical, thus cancer-causing prescription drugs. And lots of people have a doctor's prescription for the use of cannabis already. And it's legalized in 3 countries, Canada, Uruguay, and South Africa, I think. Cannabis is fully legalized in Canada, Uruguay, and South Africa. Legalize it worldwide. For all ages, because cannabis kills tumors by blocking VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, a protein needed by tumors to sprout. They cannot sprout without VEGF. So that's why they want to block cannabis, to reduce the global population, not to make the world a safer place. Because millions of people die of the cancer-causing killer alcohol yearly, and nobody ever died of cannabis. They also don't have to put the ingredients on the cancer-causing killer alcohol bottles anymore. So there can be loads of colorants, preservatives, chemicals in it that kill you, besides the toxic poison known as alcohol. But let's avoid completely, perhaps. Also may think drinking some alcohol, for example, a glass of good quality champagne on New Year's Eve, is healthier than not drinking at all. The BBC wrote about this also about binge drinking. And they know if I mention this, then some people will grab that cancer-causing killer alcohol bottle. So any publicity is good publicity, they say. That's not always true, perhaps, but usually, yeah. Because if they don't hear about the product, which can be a movie also, or a product, any type of product basically, then they can't buy it. They don't remember it if they haven't seen it before. And they're sort of programmed to buy that product, to think, oh wow, that looks good, then I like this product, etc. So another technique people can use is not buying any products that they hear in a commercial about, and boycotting all Monsanto companies, because they've done other things than contaminate our biosphere with GMO food as a sterilizing murder weapon to reduce the global population. They also did DDT and Agent Orange, etc. So boycott Monsanto and everyone who must be boycotted for a better future. That's a tool we can all use. And of course it's smart to let people know about it in your broadcasts. For a better future, the more of us, the more real resistance there is, the better. Real resistance to a global government that is not chosen by the people but imposed after creating a crisis big enough. Real resistance to their plans to reduce the global population. Real resistance to their plans to enslave humanity with this remote torture technology and synthetic telepathy, voice of God weapon. And real resistance against evil and bringing out the best in people, promoting, controlling all factors that control aging, and creating a perfect society. So what is the best form of government? A true democracy, perhaps? Though the US is a plutocracy, you could argue, because running for president takes a lot of money, and what they're doing is not democratic. So now there are much fewer Americans that would support bombing Iran after Iraq and Vietnam, etc. Should already have been a reason, I think. But they had Bush in power, and at that time I was severely tortured with directed energy weapons. So it was a more draconian, or how do you say, Luciferian, Freemasonic type of global government regime. So we can be very happy that Trump didn't attack Iran yet, which would have killed 150 people, so no doubt it would have triggered a reaction of Putin and Russian officials. Iran is an ally country of Russia, vice versa, they're allies. Like the US is an ally country of the Netherlands and Israel, and unity is strength according to some. Then what about the lemmings? I'm just putting things in perspective here. Of course, I think that you can see countries as legal persons. So what the mainstream media does is slandering whole countries, blaming Iran for the obvious, according to many, false flag drone attack on the cancer oil tanker, which they tried to cover up by letting their drone fly above Iranian territory. That was shot down. They knew that would happen. It was all planned and part of the show to demonize Iran. Demonizing is dehumanization, part of the 10 phases of genocide. So look at those if you want to prevent that, basically. And people are learning, they're going around school and mainstream media and other programming straight to the truth if they can. Lots of people are vigilant and they are trying to do the right thing with all their heart, soul and might, so to speak, with everything they've got, because it's the most sensible thing to do, and I advise everybody to try it. And first review all your options and think long and hard, and don't do it unless you can control the outcome. All legal means must first be tried. One who knows of evidence must testify, not to convict anyone without a fair trial, and not to redeem a murderer from the death penalty for money, are commandments, but we see them implemented in many codified laws. So I think that we find that in the US Constitution and laws in the US, they have the death chair, the death penalty. So we can wonder about utopia and whether 21 years for somebody that killed 77 kids is justified or if it's an injustice. If there would have been the death penalty in his country, would he have done the same thing, or would that have prevented it? And with these disco shootings, people argue if there would have been one person that carried, that could have prevented all these people from getting shot. It could also have led to that if they get drunk or they bump their head and then they think, oh wow, a gun, they go insane. Then that could also happen. So I did a broadcast about the guns. What did I call it? Guns don't kill people, people kill guns. But it's about an article, and it shows that people who have a gun commit, their suicide rate is about twice as high as people without a gun. And there are more statistics. And it's simply true that if they don't have a gun, they can't shoot anyone. And then they have very little chance of getting away. If somebody would come into your home right now with a gun, what would you do? If they would be coming to kill you, then calling the cancer tetracycle cops is not going to help anymore. Peace in your peace, that's the idea. So I think this matrix picture, well, I showed in my videos that my video had 51 views, but now it's at 7 views. So that means they're also doing something to that YouTube counter, or my YouTube counter basically. And if it's done by NSA or whatever, then I think it's not provable that YouTube can prove it. If they do it with wireless energy by changing these ones and zeros on your hard disk, which is what we're looking at on our screen. These are ones and zeros in reality. You know it. So it's first digitized, and the computer only does ones and zeros, on or off. And so does Tesla's scalar technology, is wireless energy techno. So yeah, they've claimed that they crashed these planes, tachynedeless fly-by-wire planes they're called. Fly-by-wire means that the hydraulics can only be controlled electronically. They've crashed them into the WTC with their neural network and this wireless energy technology of Nikola Tesla. So when they take over that flight computer, they cannot control the plane themselves anymore because the hydraulics are electronically controlled and it has a good safety for lightning, so that cannot destroy it or whatever. So they must have taken control of a central part of the flight computer system so that they couldn't control it themselves anymore. That's also clear from the fact that with box cutter knives, their official story, they couldn't have let them crash into the WTC. These doors are closed, and even when you're being threatened, you know, pilots are not stupid and they know that survival is all, so they're not going to do anything. They would not comply with crashing the plane into the WTC, especially not both of them. So the documentary 9/11 Lateral Loose Change, second edition, at the 53rd minute or so, we see these explosives going off underneath the blast wave, proving beyond any reasonable doubt that there were explosives in the WTC. Some people think that the plane was fake because they think it cannot come out of the other end of the building with its nose, the nose of the plane intact. What if it slides exactly, the nose is exactly between two floors, then it would become possible if there are just a couple of windows that it has to go through, wouldn't it? Plus, it might have been prepared by the mainstream media, also many people knew it was going to happen. We can see the Michael Jackson sleeve with his hands at 9 and 11 and standing in place of where the WTC used to stand, blood on the dance floor, that sleeve. And Prince and others also knew about this long before it happened. Wasn't it Project Northwoods or something like that? So that's how they can make these predictions, because they know they're gonna do it, it's going to happen. Because they control them all, also with synthetic telepathy, not just with programming, and via their groups, via the Muslim Brotherhood, the Freemasons, Bilderberg, Jesuits, of course, maybe in control of these intelligence agencies, which are all Masonic, Luciferians, all Masons are Luciferians, and they're controlled by these Jesuits from behind the scenes, so they lie about it and pretend that it's nonsense. They try to ridicule the truth. And I'm not claiming that it's proven either, that one. That there were explosives in the WTC, yes. Also Professor Jones has proven this. And you can see them going off on the official mainstream media video, so it's kind of hard to deny it. They know you're lying if you deny it. So that's a conspiracy fact. Oh, there's somebody at the door, perhaps. I'll check. Ik kom eraan! Moment, alstublieft. I'm going to the door. Ik kom eraan! Ik kom eraan, moment, alstublieft. Even mijn broek aan. Mijn vader doet misschien wel open. Ja. Alright. I think it's before World War III, who would have thought that this is an impossible timeline. So, thank you very much. This one. Oh, okay. My Rowtown pipes of eBay. So I can't show them. I might make a separate broadcast. And I also have to do, I covered my gaming device in some of my broadcasts a little bit. It's a Raspberry Pi transparent gaming device. A mini arcade, basically. But the best shape might be, well, the RS07 is pretty good as well. It's also light, so it's pretty heavy to hold. But I'm covered it, so I will cover it if you're not nuked before that. So that's why I'm going to have to keep an eye on Iran on Google News. But there's another war monitor that might also be following it. But if Trump does anything, then that could trigger World War III. Okay. I mean, the packaging is okay. It's in bubble wrap, little packages. The pipes are in 2 parts. And it's taped. Universal piece is awesome. If they could go straight for the perfect society in controlling all factors that control aging. Because the AI will be so advanced and fast that they will be able to control 7.5 billion people easily. If they can control 500 million, they can control 7.5 billion. So my advice is clear: prevent World War III, prevent MAD, the tidal waves, the scalar world war. I've shown pictures of the Tesla plasma shield. These things are real, targeted individuals. know it for sure if they have that grounded Van de Graaff generator that partially deflects not the scalar beam, but the electromagnetic field that they make with that scalar beam, which can be post-energy projectile, for example. And it induces the maximum amount of pain by stimulating the nerves directly, so that way people can be extorted, they can remotely torture and kill people. And power corrupts, they say. So I hope, I'm against it totally. It's I'm against all forms of torture, and it should be forbidden by law, with the exception of people that have planted a bomb and they have to find out where it is to prevent it from going off. If they know for sure that that person knows where it is and how to disable it, disable the bomb. I'm also for sabotaging nukes, quite frankly. And I don't know if that's still illegal if it's in some other country, not the United States. I'd have to ask Trump. Perhaps he could Skype Prologic 999. Perhaps he knows. Perhaps no one else knows. Wow, I can't show you this wonderful pipe, but it's really awesome. It feels better than the other one I have, poker style. So I can put this on my desk like that. On the poker table, on the billiard table, wherever I want to. Yeah, probably it's illegal in that country as well. They have laws against that stuff, and if you're caught, then perhaps they lock you up for the rest of your life. Because they have the will installed in themselves to self-annihilate, and nothing can change their mind. Apparently, they can't just dismantle these nukes. Perhaps not even Trump. He has already said that he would do that if the others would as well. So if Russia, Putin could also change his mind on that, and we can get rid of these nukes at least. But I guess they won't agree on it. This feels so smooth. It's really sleek. Briar, gorgeous bowl. This may be the nicest one, I think. So they're awesome. Wow, then it's better to turn on the picture show. People don't want to see this all the time. So I'm sorry about that. Sometimes things happen in my environment. This one's pretty funny. So the second pictures, I think they're all real pictures, but of course, it's the power of suggestion. Of course, Netanyahu didn't torpedo these boats himself, which we know because the holes were above the waterline. And I guess if they would have torpedoed it, the boat would have sunk. And if it wouldn't, then what would happen during a world war? There are torpedoes to keep on sailing. Ship ahoy. Until all the submarines are gone. So could this have been set up by the Jesuits? They're going to build that third temple. The Vatican also endorsed the two-state solution, which obviously may be a plan to create a two-state solution, world war. And why would they want to reduce the global population? They want to do that also to get the spoils of war, everything they own, their power, their houses, everything, without paying a dime for it. And with these scalar weapons, they can kill these people without destroying the infrastructure, etc. But the main reason is so that they can control everybody with synthetic telepathy, monitor all their minds, and give them all the same illusion with the synthetic telepathy machine, making it seem like the Mashiach, the Messiah, can do real miracles, and that will slowly, or perhaps fast, morph into that perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. So stay alive, everybody. Because everything is energy, in theory the neural network will become almighty, because everything is energy, including you and me and time itself, according to scientists. And I've had precognitive vision, so I think it may very well be true. Time is energy as well, and thus controllable. And then resurrecting the dead and rejuvenating people, letting people grow younger becomes a possibility. Eventually everything will be possible. And the scalar waves travel through all materials known to man except a Tesla plasma shield. So perhaps even those little halos, little Tesla plasma shields, will become a reality to protect your brainwave. Because these coils are so easy to make and these patents are not, they're online basically. So everybody can build these devices as long as they don't derive any financial benefit from them by selling them, for example. And a patent is not granted unless it's a working device. That's what I know about patents. Patents, the British call them. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. So it's quite a job to unpack them all with their own nice black sleeve. Perhaps I could use it for a magic trick. It's quite nice. Oh yeah, this may be even awesomer. Wow. This is my lucky day. So we could look at the satanic calendar. We have Tisha B'Av. What are other possible dates that this could happen? And how to see the date that it happens in a precognitive vision. Then you would have to see a newspaper headline with the date. Ooh, this one is a bit... I think I'm going to file this one off a bit. This one's a bit too tight. That will give problems with the stem. So then the stem could break, and that's not, that would be horrible. So what can we all do to prevent world war? Putting the truth out there is already a great step people can take to become part of the group of people that influence the timeline and our future, that help expose the people that must be exposed and help to do justice. To protect and serve all tax-paying citizens. And most people haven't tortured me. So I do love you in a non-sexual way. If you haven't tortured me, I think you're probably awesome people. People are the same wherever you go. And we're all the human race, and our common enemy is death. This is another nice one. Let's see if the stem fits. So perhaps I can show my pipes and pipes in the broadcast. Very nice, nifty little pipe. Okay, awesome. And the last one. BDU. And the other one is DSBD. And DFPOK 2 between brackets DFPOK 2 and another one, I think. Also the DROV, ROV. ROV, that's the thing also, isn't it? A drone type of thing. So yeah, Putin can have that agreement. Oh, awesomer. Well, okay. This one has a small bamboo stem. And it's a bit like a Dublin model. Would Ireland be safe? So yeah, what do you all think are the safest countries during World War III? Perhaps you could make a little list in the comment section, if that's possible. And if you can comment or write something in the chat, please Skype Prologic999 to let me know, then I will look into that, but I'm trying to not go crazy, save time and also have fun. And also to prepare for this and keep in check if there are developments. And if there are, please Skype Prologic999. If well, this one I'm definitely gonna file this as well. All right. So I'm gonna do some filing. I will restart. I will make a new broadcast. Remember, stop 5G, destroy 5G, not people. Listen to the scientists. Scientists know what they're talking about. And they've petitioned, and there are 36,000 scientists that are against the rollout of this 5G technology. Why not use Tesla's wireless energy technology, healing frequencies, faster than the speed of light? The only reason they would want to use cancer cell phone radiation is to reduce the global population. Okay, So thank you all for watching, and tune in next time on Try Something Vegetarian. Please like, subscribe and share this video on your timeline, and if possible give me a positive review to get a better score in the algorithms or whatever. I'm also gonna get some pineapple juice, orange juice. Very funny. So in reality that can't happen, twerking can't trigger it, and neither can a butterfly flapping its wings, so we don't have to be scared of that then. Sikron is ET. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Do stuff for universal peace and all wars. Americans, go home. Have fun. I'm getting ice cubes and cold water, etc. Can really be a lifesaver. Prevent getting overheated, though sweating is good. So you have to feel for yourself. If you're getting a headache and stuff, then you have to cool it down a little. Perhaps go into the cellar. Usually it's colder down there, because hot air rises, cool air, cold air falls. Oh yeah, I was going to finish this broadcast. Okay, tune in next time on Try Something.Vegetarian.